Well, good morning. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you have, then you're somebody who's either just interested in aquariums in general, or somebody who's interested in a particular fish that we're going to be talking about today. In the aquarium hobby, you know, the first and foremost, the one thing that really is an issue is algae. And finding ways to control that cell algae is a problem. And you know, it's the bane of every aquarium keeper's or fish keeper's existence. So that's why today I decided to do a little bit of a short little species profile on the neon rosy barb. Now, I bought this fish originally because they look like small goldfish, and they don't get very big. They'll get so far, the ones that I have only got about two inches long, and they haven't really got much bigger. But they appear to be small goldfish because they're very shiny. They have the color patterns of smaller goldfish. And I'm a fan of goldfish, but the thing with goldfish is they take specific requirements. And they can be easy to take care of, but they're a fish that if you're somebody who's just getting into the hobby, do not get a goldfish. Do not get a goldfish. I will recommend instead getting some neon rosy barbs. Now, they're colorful, they're pretty to look at, and they're very active. They never stop swimming. They're back and forth all the time, getting into anything that they can get into. So they're very fun to watch, very active. They add a lot of movement to a tank. But more importantly, this was a side effect, something that I figured out that I did not know when I bought this fish, is that they're excellent algae eaters, hair algae specifically. I found out completely by accident. You know, I put them in the tank, and I was very happy with them, and one day I was walking by and I noticed, you know, I've got a little bit less hair algae than I had before. Okay, well, what's going on? So I just kind of stood there and watched and actually got to see these fish grazing on all of the hair algae. Now what prompted me to actually do this is I'm currently having a hair algae problem in my 32-gallon Megaflex. I've always had hair algae in that tank. It's never really been a problem in the past, but I've always had 2 of those neon rosy barbs in that tank. Well, here in the last week, I decided to take the 2 neon rosy barbs out that I had in there, as well as the little Chinese algae eater that I had. And well, it's been about a week, and the hair algae is awful. It has come back with a vengeance. So I wound up adding 2 different neon rosy barbs back into the tank, and immediately, without missing a beat, they went right to grazing on all that hair algae. So I got some footage of that, and I thought, well, this would be an interesting thing to show people and to give you a little bit of a tip. Hair algae issue, get you some neon rosy barbs. They're beautiful to look at, they're very active, and they're good at controlling hair algae. Also, they're fairly cheap. They're not the most expensive thing, and as far as I can tell, they're fairly easy to find. Most at least here in the area that I'm in, most aquarium shops or pet stores actually do have neon rosy barbs. Now, I'm not sure if all barbs eat a hair algae, because I've only ever had the neon rosy barbs. Like, I haven't had really many other species of barbs. I would like to think that most other barbs would eat algae, but I don't know. The only thing I can speak to is the neon rosy barb, which is what I currently have. So, from what I found, neon rosy barbs don't really like to be alone. So that's why I have 2 in the 32, and I've got a school of about 5 in the 60. They do like bigger numbers. Most barbs, I think, do. They like to shoal together. But if you have a smaller tank, 1 or 2, 2 or 3, you'd be fine. I don't necessarily think they don't really like to be one. They just kind of wander around aimlessly. But if you put 2 of them in there, they stick together and they actually play with each other, which is interesting to watch. It looks like they're fighting, but they don't seem to. There's no really aggression. They just it's like they're little playful nips that they give each other as they swim along. So yeah. So if you have any issues with hair algae, before you start putting chemicals in your tank, because I don't like the idea of putting harsh chemicals in a tank to control algae. Hopefully there's more people like me that feel the same way, that would rather try to do something natural to try and control the algae than to add chemicals. Also, per the nitrogen cycle, you have ammonia, which turns into nitrites, and then it is broken down through bacteria to nitrates, and nitrates are like fertilizer to plants. So if you don't have, if there's too much nitrates for your plants to absorb, you get a really bad algae problem. And the best way to combat that is regular water changes, which apparently is something I'm gonna have to start doing due to 32. It's something that I've never really had to do with an aquarium before. I've never really had this kind of algae issue in a tank before. Not with hair algae. I mean, I've had other kinds of algae that just putting animals in to take care of it has always sufficed. But in this particular case, it doesn't seem to be the case. So Neon Rosy Barbs, please give them a try and let me know what your success rate is with them. As always, thank you for watching. I really hope that you're all in a positive place, that everything is kind of working out for you. I know we live in kind of crazy times. We're all kind of cut off from one another at this particular moment in time. Hopefully it'll get better before it gets worse, any worse. But as always, thank you for watching. Please leave a comment, ring the bell, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.